So I'm not even going to say the word, but this is my second time recording it because my phone ran out of storage and I had to stop and do it again. But listen, we here, we want to get this shit done. That's what we do. So, as the title stated, I want to dive into the depths of those that have suffered from sexual abuse, right? So, a lot of the times, okay, and I'm learning that majority of the people have sustained some type of sexual abuse. Yesterday I had a download and it said the most powerful beings on this earth that is here to help shift humanity has sustained some type of sexual abuse, right? And at that moment it made sense because I'm like, yo, that is one of my core wounds. And it's deeper than the experience. It's how it altered me. It's how it has siphoned my energy, my power. It has left me to feel powerless. Like I was violated at a very, very young age. You know, I was taught to be so outside of myself, to people please, right? And I'm going to speak about that today. And I want to speak about the environments in which these things unfold. Okay, 9 out of 10, you were in an environment that wasn't functional. Okay, it was very dysfunctional. And on top of that, you never felt safe enough to express what has transpired. So, for myself, around 7 years old, I started to experience sexual abuse from my older brother. He got me about 6 years, I want to say. And I started to experience sexual abuse from him. Our environment was extremely toxic. My mother was already, getting abused for less than, she just was in a very, very dysfunctional relationship with a man that was projecting his hurt onto her. So I never was in an environment where I felt that I was protected, but I felt like I had to be the protector. So that led me to um, basically suffering in silence. Okay, so once this started to transpire, now I can go back and be like, oh wow, that's why people please so much. Because I remember the first incident with my brother, and it's kind of like he gaslit me or made me feel bad that I wasn't, I didn't want to participate in what it was that he was trying to seduce me to do. And I remember giving in. And now I can look back and say, wow, that's where me and the energy of people pleasing this entire time has led me. It was a, what is it? What the word I'm looking for? It was like it was the aftermath of me, sustaining that. So I grew up in a household where I really could never speak on it. The first time I ever told anyone that I was sexually abused was when I had a nervous breakdown. I had a nervous breakdown in 2013, and I sustained like a full blown psychosis moment. I had just had my son. He was just turning 1. I had him in 2012, and I remember signing myself up in a psychiatric unit because it was like I was just becoming another person, and I didn't know what was ongoing. It started from me just being very, very depressed. Not wanting to take care of myself. I was around my family that was just using me and finding different ways to abuse me, and not physically but financially, emotionally, etc. And I wound up like starting to hear voices. I started with anxiety attacks, panic attacks. Well, it started with anxiety, right? And now that I understand what anxiety is fear. Okay, and it started with anxiety attacks, and I kind of went to try to figure out like what was wrong with me. When I did get to the psychiatric unit, I spent like a week there. And the psychiatrist, when you go through those type of experiences, the psychiatrist kind of dig into your childhood. And that was the first time that I've ever exposed to anyone that, I had sustained that type of abuse. And I remember her asking me, did you ever tell anyone this? And I said, no, I never told anyone. She said, well, let me tell you this, that is the majority of your problem. She said, you suppress this emotion, the emotions that came from that traumatic experience, and you couldn't do anything to kind of suppress it anymore. It's like it took over your system, and it put you through a shutdown. So when I came home, I remember going to my mother and telling my mother that, I had experienced this. Being that, I just came out the crazy house, she called me a crazy bitch. That's what she told me. Um, Rewind to when I was a child, it happened around 6 or 7 years old. And then I remember around 10 years old, like this thing was haunting me. Like I would like ball my body up, and I would just like shake my body to try to like get the thoughts and the energy, and the emotions out of my body that I was feeling from suffering from, what I've experienced for so freaking long and nobody knew. And I remember this one time I tried to approach my mother with it, and I told her what I did was I said, "Ma, can I tell you something?" I tried to approach her with it as if it was a dream, right? Because I wanted to see what her reaction would be. I wanted to see what her reaction would be if I told her this. So I was like, "Ma, I had a dream that Gregory touched me." She's like, "Shh, don't say that, don't say that." So, once she gave that reaction, it kind of put me back into my shell again. And I remember feeling like my heart was sinking back, to my lower abdomen. And I'm like, okay, well, it's still not safe for me, to tell her. So when in 2013, when I came home and I told her, like, I sustained that, for her to call me a crazy bitch, it kind of made me feel like, damn, I grew up in a toxic environment. Like, I grew up seeing you get your ass whooped. And I felt like at that little girl age, nobody was protecting me, but I had to show up and protect you. And me protecting you was me not exposing, what was ongoing and how I was suffering in silence. So once that happened in 2013, it kind of was like a smack in my face. But again, I still didn't know how this had impacted me. I still didn't get it. So now I want to speak about, being a victim of sexual abuse and how it has created my reality and impacted me energetically. So y'all know me, okay? I love to let people know what it is. Okay, you are energy. You are energy center. You are energy. You are energy. You are energy. As above is the emotions. So I mean, as above is the energy, so below is the emotions, right? And your emotions govern your experience until you get into the understanding that you are energy. So I wrote some notes here because I be all over the place. And once I start to flow is when I start to flow. So when you sustain sexual abuse, it is an attack at your sacral chakra. Yesterday I had a download, right? And it said the most powerful being sustains some type of sexual abuse. So I'm listening to this download and I'm like, how does that line up? And then I started to reflect on myself. I said, oh, wow, you know what? I can understand how it lines up because one, that blocks your throat chakra, right? Me not expressing what I've experienced in that household has blocked me from being expressive, right? And in my relationships, I was not expressive. I was shut down. The same thing that I would do when I went to go tell my mother what happened and she told me to shh, I was shut down, right? As a safety mechanism. I felt like I needed to protect myself by not expressing what it was that I really felt and to keep the peace with others. So in my relationships, I tend to act that way. I tend to want to say something, but not say it because I want to keep the safety, right? It's like a protection mechanism that I formed from illusions. So understand this, right? I just told you that you're energy. So you are what you attract. And people hate to hear that you are what you attract, but you are what you attract, right? Because you're an energy center. Any man that I attract into my reality that I had children by sustained some type of sexual abuse, right? Now, I didn't find this out till recently, until I started to really heal and see them for exactly who they were. It started to come to me that this person sustained some type of sexual abuse. And it gets a little deeper than that because any relationship I was in, these men were promiscuous, right? They love cheating. When a man sustains sexual abuse, he has a tendency of being very, very promiscuous. And you know why that is because he's battling with his sexuality, especially if it happened very, very young, right? And the reason why we battle with our sexuality is because we were introduced to something so very, very early on. Same thing for a female, right? A female that want to deal with this man, that man, that man, etc. One man don't satisfy her. She needs more wood for the fire. That's because I want to say it as like an overactive sacral energy, right? It's like she got all of this energy here because she was exposed to something so very young that she couldn't even interpret it. Like when you are introduced to something early on that you aren't supposed to be introduced to, it's going to leave an imbalance. I've been very, very disconnected from my reproduction area. I've been very, very disconnected from any area at the bottom because I was violated. So for safety again, and to not feel or simply not being connected to that area, I kind of shy away from it. So I was always in the energy of allowing others to abuse that area, right? Hence, that's why I have 6 children. Now, I want you to understand something, right? Your sacral energy is the most powerful energy on your physical vessel. Sex is sacral energy exchange, right? That's why you have the ability to create. You can create with your sacral energy. That's why I created 6 kids. Now, I didn't have this understanding until now, until I really started to do the introspection, until I really started to heal, right? But I want to get a little deeper because now I want you to understand something. If I told you that that's very, very powerful, matter of fact, that's the most powerful energy center on your physical vessel, and you've been siphoned of that energy, or you've been plugged and energizing a source, right? So now the source is the source is the person that projected onto you, that projected that experience onto you. Now I want you to understand something, right? I just said that you're energy entities. Now I can look back at my life right now and see how that entity has manifested in every person that I dealt with, because I myself was housing that entity. And the way that I was housing that entity was because I didn't deal with the emotions, the energy that came from that experience, right? I didn't deal with it. I just told you I was like, oh, trying to like shake it out my body the whole time. I was storing it energetically into my nervous system. So, I just lost track of what I was saying, but it's going to come back, right? So, I want to speak about the partners that you attract into your life, right? And I want you to understand that this is very, very common, okay? The thing with men is you guys are taught not to speak about it, right? We're taught, oh, a man ain't supposed to cry. That's bullshit. You're a human being. You're supposed to feel your emotions. You're supposed to allow that energy to rise so you can transmute it to becoming your higher self, or to transmute it into an energy that presents as higher, right? So the way that we act these things out, as I just stated, is you are just messing with this woman, that woman, that woman, and the woman is messing with this man, this man, this man, or you're just creating children, right? Or you're just utilizing that center for something different when you're supposed to utilize it to create. So I want to go back to it being the most powerful energy on your body and the most powerful being sustaining some type of sexual abuse. That's a spiritual attack. Matter of fact, that's probably the biggest spiritual attack there is. And I say that because your will, your power center, if that's imbalanced, everything around you is imbalanced. Where are you creating from? You're creating from a place of hurt. You're creating from a place of sustaining those wounds. You know what I used to be into too? I used to like watching dominatrix, right? We grown as fuck, so I'm gonna be honest, and I'm very transparent and I'm real. And I used to love dominatrix. I used to love seeing women like dominate these men. And I didn't understand that until I started to really do the introspection and be like, yo, listen, you are replaying the same projections that just happened. This is not normal. It's not normal. Okay. This is you in a space of energetically vibrating in that same energy, in that entity that projected that onto you. And this is how it's playing into your reality. I remember going through my awakening in 2022. And I remember leaving my daughter's father, and he probably was the main one that had that freaking entity. Like, he forced me into my awakening. Shout out to him. He forced me into my awakening. But I remember leaving him. I don't like this. I remember leaving him and feeling broken down there. Like, when I would try to pleasure myself, I would fucking boo-hoo cry. Oh, cry, cry, cry. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, what am I crying from? Because it was time for me to shift and not feed that entity. See, when you sustain that type of experience, you need to regain your power back by celibacy. You need to regain your power back by celibacy, and that's how you rid the attachment to the source that you are energizing. Until you get to that sacral energy, that root, it's the root still, it's the bottom, it's the lower self. Until you tackle that lower self and that energy center and the source that is energizing that's siphoning you of your energy, you are going to continuously place yourself in situations with people, places, and things that are going to relate that message to you. You got some shit within yourself that you need to get to the bottom to. And that bottom is that motherfucking sacral energy. That bottom is you celibate, you becoming celibate and not having to be so sexually active, not having to energize yourself with porn, etc. Everything is energy. Whatever you participate in, whatever you're entertained by, it's only containment, and it's containment to siphon your fucking energy. So if you messing with this person and messing with that person, or gotta watch porn every day, or gotta do this or gotta do that, know that it's an imbalance, because that's the energy that you create with. And once you start to regain that energy back, then you're able to create the life for yourself. Matter of fact, you're able to get that energy flowing to where you can get into alignment. And now we can get to the throat chakra energy. Now we can get to the heart space. Now we can get to the solar plexus. See, when you have an imbalanced sacral, you're not getting that solar plexus. You're not hitting that solar plexus. And that's your power pack. That's your powerhouse. The fucking sacral energy in the solar plexus. That's your powerhouse. That's what ascends you to a higher consciousness, right? Because we got to get to that heart space. This is still bottom work. This is still lower self. We have to get balanced in those areas. And people that sustain sexual abuse, we are not balanced in those areas. Well, we weren't balanced in those areas. I wasn't balanced in those areas. Again, that's why I have 6 kids and 3 baby fathers. That's why, because I was so outside of myself. I felt like this is how I had to show up and become. This is how I felt of value. Deeper than me already, like, oh my gosh, I never even had a family. So now I'm creating fucking broken families because I've never experienced a family growing up. And then deeper than that, I'm creating all these kids because I have an overreactive sacral chakra from being sexually abused and being exposed to something so very, very early on that I wasn't even able to energetically, mentally, physically interpret. Right? So you see how these experiences can trickle down into our lives and create our realities. That's the shit that we have to really sit back and become the awareness or the observer to understand how this has impacted us. That is a spiritual war. You know what I know? I know that was the biggest motherfucking wound I had, and that's the biggest motherfucking wound that was keeping me from really stepping into my knowing and my ability to create, to really speak. Once I started telling motherfuckers, once I made my YouTube video last year about what I've sustained, that's when my throat chakra started to open up. That's when I became able to start to be more expressive. Now I can speak about this shit, because you know what I know? I know that there's so many other people that's suffering in silence still to this day, and they think because it's not ongoing or they're not in the environments no more that it's not impacting them. No, it is impacting you, and it's impacting you more than the fuck you ever can think. Because baby, if you're thinking, you're looking, you know, and you really get into the ability to be the fucking awareness, you say, oh shit, this is how my life was created. This is what I created for myself from sustaining that experience. These motherfuckers knew what they was doing to keep us under a spell, to keep us in a energizing something and something siphoning our energy unconsciously. You know what I know? I know once I started to regain my power back and unplug the motherfucking source, I know the motherfuckers started to die out. That's what I do know. Those entities on those people started to die out. Oh shit, she done caught on now. Oh, she's taking her power back. She's calling her power back. She's calling her power back to be replenished and restored. She's calling that power back. Oh yeah, I'm calling that power back. And the more I call it back is the more I'm able to step into my truth. Also, I want to say this. And to anybody that you grown up with and you express that shit from, or they made it seem as if you couldn't speak your truth, or they simply didn't make a big deal out of something like that you experienced, cut them motherfuckers off. And I don't give a fuck who it is. I don't give a fuck who it is, because we have to stop condoning the darkness. Motherfuckers talking about, oh, the family business. We don't want to expose the family business. What the fuck is the family business? Because niggas is broke. So what's the family business? Oh, the darkness. Y'all don't want to bring the darkness out so we can heal it. We can bring this shit to the light so we can stop normalizing these things, or we can stop trying to silence the victim of these things. So we can learn from these things. So the next motherfucker that got it in their mind won't even think about it because it's already been exposed. See, I had to learn where my energy was being pulled from. I had to learn these things. You know what my mother used to do to me? It's like she used to try to torment me. Oh, I just talked to your brother. I used to be like in the back of my mind, like, yo, why this bitch is playing with me? You feel what I'm saying? I used to feel like that, yo, why this bitch is playing with me? Like, why are you like bringing up this person and, you know, just telling me this person? I don't even talk to this person. My sisters, right? Because I have siblings that's younger than me. Man, I used to be so selfless, and I was trained this way to be so selfless from that experience, that first experience. I felt like I needed to protect my mother. And not only that, once she started to have children, I felt like I needed to protect them. I need to protect them from this nigga because he doing this to me. Now I've got other two sisters that was just born. I have to protect them. So I used to throw myself, you know what I'm saying, in front of them to ensure that, listen, this don't happen to them. It's already happening to me. Fuck it. But it can't happen to them. So when she used to do that shit to me, like, oh yeah, your brother, I used to be like, yo, bitch, why are you playing with me in the back of my head? I'm not disrespectful to my mother, you feel what I'm saying? But that's what I used to be like. Like, are you trying to torment me with this situation? Like, did you really feel like I was a crazy bitch? Because I've exposed it after I was, you know, taught, not I was taught, but after I was, you know, guided to expose it, because this was something that was on me heavily. And let me say this, once I came out in 2013 and I said it, and I wound up start telling every fucking body. I started telling every fucking body. Once I did that, okay, I felt so much lighter. I felt so much lighter. So much lighter. Like literally. So much lighter. But I didn't know how it had impacted me. So now let's rewind. No, let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to now and how I'm battling with it now, or how I was battling with it. But now I'm aware of it, right? So, how I'm battling with it now is not believing in myself. Okay? Let me tell you something. That alone, once a person comes and siphons that type of energy from you and really violates you and really makes you feel less than, that shit really impacts you. Okay, I really question myself a lot. Like, am I worthy of this? Like, should I come out and do this, or should I do that, or should I do that? Excuse me. My confidence levels low as fuck. Well, was low as fuck. I felt like I couldn't be expressive. I couldn't express myself because, again, I sustained that and I couldn't express it to others. So these things impact you in ways to keep you playing the fuck small. These things impact you in ways to keep you vibrating low so you can continuously attract these situations around you. My last situation that I was trying to entertain, right, came into my life, and I know I was being tested to see if I had discernment. I knew I was being tested. This motherfucker came and he had the spirit of lust on him. And I'm like, this motherfucker, are you serious? And I'm thinking back to myself like, yo, what am I presenting myself as to continuously attract this type of energy into my reality? No, it was a motherfucking test. It was a test to see if I had conquered that demon, if I had conquered that lower entity. Because let me tell you something about those entities. They will keep you anchored to a lower fucking timeline. And that lower timeline is you. That lower timeline is your hurt self. That's what that is. That's that lower timeline. So these entities are going to come at you every which way, because overstand something. This shit is spiritual. Stop looking at the world as physical. Stop looking at the world as spiritual. Start looking at it as spiritual. This shit ain't physical. See what type of entities are attached to these motherfuckers. Do the work that you need to do so you can activate your intuition and your discernment, which is the higher self. Do that. They don't want you to do that, because once you do that, then you're able to see some shit a mile away. Oh, I see you, motherfucker. I see you had that same motherfucking entity that my brother had to fuck on him. I see you as a fucking physical vessel that entity has housed to try to anchor me to an old timeline, which is really my unhealed self, is really the self that I had to conquer. Them entities know not to motherfucking play with me no more, because I conquered my own demons. I conquered those demons that was projected onto me from that experience. That's what this shit is about. It's about self-mastery. It's about understanding how these things impact you. That's what this is about. Man, my confidence level was fucking shot. What? My confidence level was shot. Me having children and this and that. Oh yeah, this, that. I felt like that was the shit. I motherfucker talk to me about some sex right now, nigga. I'm disgusted. What you coming like? Respectfully. Because I don't entertain those type of conversations no more. You can't present yourself as motherfucking swing a dang-a-ling and I'm entertained. What you coming like? How you coming? And these motherfuckers know. Because like I just said, a lot of these motherfuckers got the same womb. You are what you attract. And if you go back into your history and your past with these men, oh baby, you will understand and see that they had the same entity attachment to them, especially if they feel like they have to fuck with Tawny, Ani, Mani, Sawney. They're battling with their sexuality because they've experienced sexual abuse. And they have an overreactive sacral energy when you are supposed to utilize that energy to create. That's why I wasn't able to create. I wasn't able to create because what the fuck? I'm out this motherfucker in the physical plane creating all types of chaos for myself. It knocks you off energetically. You're creating everything you do and you're creating. I'm creating broken families. I'm creating these children with broken ass men, toxic men. I'm creating experiences and getting my ass whooped because of my sacral energy was overreactive because I was exposed to sexual activities very, very young as a sexual abuse survivor. Because I don't like to say the victim shit. But I was definitely a survivor. Now I'm definitely an overstander. I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm definitely that. Okay, definitely. I'm about to see what else I got on here. Because I really be sexual parasites. Yes. Attracting the same man with the same womb. Entities that are attached to these people. Vibration low enough that the entity can operate through them. Lust, Jezebel, the warlocks. Y'all love labeling some shit, but it get a little deeper than that. That's the spirit of lust. The spirit of the Jezebel. The spirit of the warlocks. That's what that is. Those that experience or suffer from that experience, they true imposter syndrome, lack of self-worth. Right? You got a lack of self-worth. Hell motherfucking yeah, you do. You think it's all you can produce. You think how it's you could split your legs up in the air and you could shake that ass. When you need to be going into some motherfucking yoga to go stretch that ass and stretch that energy out of it. I had to start doing that. I had to start dancing. I had to start moving. I don't even think about pleasure in myself. I don't think about those things. I'm learning to connect back to that lower. I'm learning to connect back to my reproduction system. Oh. And know this too, right? Because we're energy before the physical body. Well, when you transcend past the physical body, then you understand that you are energy. If you got kidney issues, sexual abuse, that's overreactive sacral energy. PCOS, I was diagnosed with PCOS. And I'm talking about my cis ovaries had cysts on each ovary. It looked like some fucking, I don't know what it looked like. Okay, it had so many cysts on each of my ovaries. And I was diagnosed with PCOS. When you've suffered a traumatic experience like that, you are going to have some reproduction issues. And that's why the rise in reproduction issues in women are so much in the communities, especially the melanated communities. And if you're watching this video and you have reproduction issues like fibroids, PCOS, all of those issues, it stems back to that sexual abuse. Move that energy. I was told that I wouldn't have children. I got 6 of them. I got 6 of them. And I wasn't moving that energy before. But now that I've moved the energy and I know how to govern the body by moving the energy, I don't have cysts on my ovaries, etc. See, these people of the world, or who you was created and taught to put all your energy into, it's not who the fuck you think they are. Okay? They are playing the same fucking game of the people that has placed these spiritual attacks upon us. See, life is a fucking game. Okay? And you're going to go through trials and tribulations and spiritual warfares to keep you from tapping into your God power. right? Because you are God. But the game is to keep you from knowing that. So we take you away from your essence, from your power that you have, and we put something outside of you in the physical reality, external from you, as if it has the power that you really have to heal your fucking self. Everything outside of you is a mimic. It's mimicking you. So if you think that you gotta take this medication, baby, it's because you can really heal your motherfucking self. But understand something, we have to put something outside of you so that you think that this can heal you. Just like we think that motherfucking man could heal us. No, baby, you gotta heal your motherfucking self. And the homegirl can't heal you either, because she ain't healed. And if you ain't healed, that means you attracting the same motherfucker. Because you ain't getting away from who you are. Everything is a reflection, an external reflection of your internal state. Everything. Everything. So when you think of, oh, why do I keep attracting this man that's cheating on me? Why do I keep attracting this nigga that's a hoe? Why do I keep attracting this girl that's a hoe? What wound do you have within you? What did you sustain? That person has sustained it too. They sure the fuck did. They sustained it too. Because you are everything that is. You are interconnected with everything that is. And it may be a hard pill to swallow, because when you got to take accountability, a lot of motherfuckers don't like taking accountability. But in order to win in the game, you got to take accountability. And that's going to be the best motherfucking thing that you can ever take. So, baby, listen. I had to take accountability for my actions that I produced on my own, from me unconsciously being aware of how I was pulling that energy with me this entire time from that little girl that sustained that sexual abuse. And no, I'm not saying that it was my fault that I got sexually abused. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is I had to take accountability for the many experiences I created for myself from being in that energy. And when you can really do that, oh baby, you done took your motherfucking power back. Baby, you the motherfucking power pack. That's what just tried to come out my mouth. Power back, power pack. God damn it. You the motherfucking power pack. And understand this too. Then you start to see motherfuckers for who they are. Then you start to see the entities that's attached to these people in the physical reality. And you know what you learn? I can't fuck with you. You resemble a self in me that I conquered. I can't do that no more. So y'all, I gotta start recording more videos, in which I am. I'm starting to get my flow. But you know, after that download, I definitely wanted to drop this video, you know, to just bring this awareness to people. Like, it's so many of us that experience this. Like, it's not, you know, it's so many of us that experienced it, but we just don't want to talk about it because we've been trained not to talk about it. We've been trained to keep it silent. No, let's not keep it silent. Let's expose this shit, and not to be malicious. Let's do it because each one can teach one. We can grow together. We can conquer these demons together. This is a spiritual warfare. It's not even about, oh, I'm not telling the family business. No, let's fucking tell this shit so we can understand that this is a spiritual attack. It's a warfare out this motherfucker. It's the war is on us. It's nothing to be ashamed about. Not at all. Not at all. You have the ability to create whatever experience that you want to create, but you have to stop creating it from the wound itself, from the past projections, from the people that are utilizing your energy and using your energy to fucking build whatever the fuck they want. You know what I know? I know every fucking body that was siphoning my energy is crumbling right now. Everybody. And you know why that is? Because I took my motherfucking power the fuck back. That's why. Everybody that was profiting or for me being hurt, for me being unaware, them motherfuckers is getting their doses. They getting what they deserve. And I'm not stepping in a way to defend or be in the middle of nothing or nobody's karma. Because you know what I know? I know on my end, I've always kept my heart pure. You know what I know? I know on my end, where I'm going It's because I've always showed up, even when I was in the energy of hurt, even when I was in the energy of being projected, even when I was unprotected. I always showed up in that heart space. I always showed up that way. So, baby, you're going to see a lot of people, London bridges is falling. The more you take your motherfucking power back, the more the source of it all loses. And that's everything outside of you. That's this fucking world, too. That's the fucking world, too. I just told you, entertainment is containment. They want you contained while they are siphoning your energy. Peace and love, y'all.